No idea if I'm working. Hey everyone, how are you? 𝗵𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗍, physical therapist here. I want to talk to you guys about glute strength. What did I title this one? Something about glutes and how to get the most out of them. I think that's it. How to get the most out of your glutes, how runners can get the most out of your glutes. I want to talk to you about glute strength and actually do some education with you guys so you understand how important this can be for your running. So I'm actually going to go into some anatomy, which I think will be really helpful for you guys to see. And you'll start to understand why, like if you're going to work on your glute strength, you can't be focused on clamshells, leg lifts, bridges, or something that we use occasionally, but really when you're looking at a runner who needs to function at a high level, you need to get off the ground. And I want to show you, if maybe you guys know this already, but I'm going to actually show you the glutes, and then I'm going to show you what happens when you don't have good glute strength. So this is really cool. There's a good chance that I am going to really mess this up when I'm doing this. So let's see what happens. So here's the thing I want to show you. I've talked about this runner in the past, but I want to show you over here on the other side. So let's just watch this runner come through on the left, and this is going to be a lot slower than I'd like. And they're going to come down and hit on the ground. And we're going to compare that to the runner on the other side. So here's the runner. This model, whoever they traced or moved or used for this, has definitely got some imbalances. Let's see. And then we're going to look at the runner on the other side. So as he comes down and he hits the ground, let's zoom in a little bit on him and get everything lined up here. What we're looking at is, okay, foot hits the ground, all of these glute muscles, this is your glute maximus. So for those of you who don't know, let's do a little bit of drawing here. I'm going to go ahead and, you have three main glute muscles. Here's your glute max. This is the big granddaddy that everyone thinks about. You have one on both sides, obviously. So let's dissect that thing out. And what a lot of people don't realize is you have what's called your glute med. This is the one I want to really talk about. And notice the attachments of this sucker on the pelvis. I'm going to teach you guys why you need to strengthen this differently than clamshells and bridges and leg lifts, because what's going to happen is you need to target this muscle properly. So notice how it attaches to the pelvis and then it attaches down, and here's your leg bone, your femur bone down in here. It's highlighted yellow. So when the runner on the right here is landing, this muscle needs to fire and contract to stabilize the pelvis through here. If it can't, it'll cause everything to drop down just like this. So when we think about the pelvis, we think about that coming across from here. This muscle pulls down your glute med, and then your core muscles on the opposite side pull up to stabilize this bar here. So let's go a little bit deeper, and you have what's called your glute minimus, which is even a smaller glute muscle. Oh boy, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you have even a smaller glute muscle that's underneath that. So when people think about piriformis syndrome, knee issues, a lot of times it's because of weakness, not so much in this small glute mid muscle, but it's usually this glute med right here. This is the one that gets a lot of people in trouble. So let's let this play through, because it's probably going to take about 4 years to do. And let's see what happens on the opposite side. We forgot some glute muscles to put them back. Oh boy, this is way slower than I wanted. Come on. So we have some hamstrings down in here. This guy's twisting and turning. Let's let him land on his right side. Come on, guy. I know this is a guy based off of the pelvis. All right, so he's going to hit the ground there. Now let's just take a look and see what's going on this side. So glute max, right? Let's get rid of glute max if I can. This is going better than I thought, believe it or not. You guys are probably lost and said this guy's crazy. But glute med, this is the one we want to look at, right? So glute med is going to be on the ground here. So let's watch the runner on the other side go through and hit the ground. And as he hits the ground, you're going to see that right now his pelvis, everything is in pretty good alignment. If we were to drop a plumb line down, you see how everything's pretty aligned. You have good alignment through his upper body. You have good alignment through his pelvis, his shoulders. Oh boy, told you. Through his shoulders. Everything is pretty smooth. Now let's watch the alignment as he continues to run through this, because right now he's about to hit the ground with all his body weight. And this is why clamshells and leg lifts don't work, because when your foot is on the ground, muscles fire completely different than they do when your foot is on the ground. So on the ground versus the off the ground. If we look at the running motion, whenever you're going to do strength training, you want it to look and smell and feel like running. You want it to be quote unquote runner specific. So as he hits the ground here, watch how everything falls out of alignment. So now we see a couple things. We see this knee crashing down and in. We see elbows tilting with an arm flared out to the side. He still maintains some semblance of symmetry through his trunk, but it's all through compensation through this arm kicking out and the knee falling in. The fact that this knee is falling in is due to lack of control here, here, and here. So the real three main muscle groups that are not performing the right action to stabilize his pelvis. So you think about for a second, let's go back and just look at his knee. And I'm going to try to zoom in here and probably botch this quite a bit. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I can't even zoom in anymore. Imagine what's happening to the knee here. You're getting a lot of compression at the distraction at the knee. You're getting a lot of distraction at the ankle. You're getting compression on the outside of the knee. A lot of tension force through the hips and through the core and through the low back. So when you think about those muscle groups, right? I said the hip fires together, the ankle fires together, and the core fires together. They're not isolated. None of this is isolated movement. So when you're thinking about the strength of your glute muscles, you want to look at it as strength of a sequence of muscles and not isolate them. Clamshells, right? You do a clamshell, oh, almost pulled that off. If you do a clamshell, you're isolating that glute-med muscle, which is wrong because they don't fire together anyways, but also you're off the ground. When your foot's on the ground and you're running, your glute-med is stabilizing your pelvis and stabilizing your trunk. It's not doing this action anymore. So if you want to strengthen it, you got to strengthen it with your foot on the ground so that it protects the whole leg. You have to fire all those muscles together. I'm so sick of, there's a lot of people still doing a lot of clamshells and stuff. I just can't believe it because it's clear as day when you watch someone run. We've been watching runners for 10 years go through this, and it's very clear when someone has an imbalance and what's going to help and what's not going to help. So I encourage you guys, if you're going to get the most out of your glute strength, you need to think about it in sequences of muscles. You need to fire everything together. So there's a lot of great exercises you can do. Mainly, you can do your core on the ground. You can do your planks and the side planks because the side planks are going to fire those outside core muscles. But when you get to your glutes and you get some decent enough strength that you can be standing, which is really everyone, you got to be thinking about squats, deadlifts, single leg activity, right? Because let me just show you real quick. This is my big thing. I'm huge on single leg activity in the clinic when I'm treating patients. Look at this posture of the runner here, right? So he's on his right leg, and what you want to do when you're doing your strength, we want things to be runner specific. So when we want that, let me see if I'm just freestyling today. I don't know what's happening. All right, so if you're gonna strengthen it, last time I was back here, I stepped on a Roomba and it started going around. So when you want to strengthen it, why not get in this posture, right? Here's that runner I just showed you. He's standing like this. Now start doing your strength. Even if you're doing upper body stuff, stand on that, get the core activated, get the hip activated for balance. You can do your overhead presses here. You can do your curls here. You can do what we like to do is a lot of balance and reach activity. That's the kind of stuff that you need to be doing. You can't be doing clamshells. You can't be doing leg lifts forever. If you're stuck and you want to know why, it's probably because you're either not doing anything or you're doing those exercises. So if you're really struggling with your glute strength, you actually just want to figure out how to do this, I encourage you guys to go to the link I put in this post. I have full workouts that will teach you everything you need to know to do this. The first one I like to tell you to start with is base 3 and then go into base 6. We have a ton of base 6 users that are probably watching this video. They can tell you in the comments, it's not very easy. It's a lot of balance, it's a lot of strength, but you know you're working the muscles properly. So check out the link in that post if you want some help with your glute strength and your balance and you want to just build up your reserves of strength, because when the fall comes and we all want to start racing again, you don't want to be on the sidelines because you just kind of slacked through the coronavirus thing and then you had to ramp up quick over the summer. So build your strength reserves, do it in a runner specific way, get off the ground, and that will give you the best shot at not being an injury prone runner who's just sad and pouting on the sidelines. All right, guys, I appreciate you all for watching. I'm going to go and finish this thing up, and I will talk to you guys soon. Check out the link in the post of this video, and you can actually check out the workouts just for $1 for 2 weeks. And if you want to stick around, it's only $15. You can cancel whenever. There's no shadiness or shystiness. Shady? Whatever. You know what I mean. Check it out. Talk to you guys. Bye. Really messed up that camera there.